Today I'm reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. We'll start with visuals as always. Guardians of the Galaxy has a really rich and vibrant colour palette which really makes it easy on the eyes, and it's definitely a good contrast to the rest of the MCU, which tends to use more muted tones. It's actually a bit of a feast for the eyes, and it's definitely a welcome change. I thought costume and makeup did a great job with everybody, managing to make them look the way that they did in the comics, but without stepping into the realm of cosplay, because sometimes when you're trying to do costumes and characters as crazy and out there as these, they can come across a bit cheap and tacky looking, but Gunn and his team avoided that in this. The CGI is excellent throughout this film, although it does lean a bit too heavily on green screen at times, but then I guess that's an unfair criticism, because how the hell can you film a space movie without a green screen, unless you're going to shoot it in space on a foreign planet. But yeah, a bit too much green screen, but on the whole, CGI was done really well. I should also say that this film has probably the best character introduction of any MCU film. Star-Lord's introduction, singing and dancing along to the song while kicking strange little lizards out of the way, really spoke volumes about his type of character, and I think that was an excellent way to introduce him. Overall, I'm going to give the visuals an 8.5. Opting to go with a selection of catchy retro pop songs throughout this film. It has a great soundtrack, and it's really no surprise that it became one of the most downloaded soundtracks of that release year. Each song conveys the mood and feeling of the scenes really, really well, and it's pretty clear that James Gunn went to a lot of effort to very selectively choose the tracks for this film and the scenes to put them against. Generally, I prefer a good score over a licensed soundtrack, but I've really got no arguments here. This is a soundtrack that's so good that my girlfriend and I have listened to this over and over and over while driving to various places. It's such a catchy soundtrack, and it really does benefit the film really well, so I'm going to give the audio a 9. Which I think might be the highest score I've given the audio for any film. Filled with hilarious and charismatic performances from just about everybody in this film, the whole group chemistry is brilliant throughout the entire film, and they really play off each other really well. They all have such a good rapport, and all the jokes land perfectly well. And it really is a joy to watch all these characters interact in every scene. Their dynamics work so well together, and each actor seemed to understand what their role was in this team, and I think that was something they got across really well. Sadly, I do think that Lee Pace was miscast as Ronan the Accuser. It's not a particularly great role to begin with, but Lee Pace's constant gurning and shouting of every single line made him come off more like a comedic pantomime villain than an actual genuine threat, which is what we really needed him to be. I don't think it's entirely his fault, because the role isn't fantastic, but he didn't play it very well either. I'm really not looking forward to him coming back in Captain Marvel. Hopefully he'll do better. So overall, I'm going to give the performances an 8. This is a very fun and witty script peppered with excellent jokes throughout the whole screenplay. It has a team of really well-defined characters who all get pretty good progressions throughout the film, which really makes their journey enjoyable to watch. The plot is another MacGuffin-driven plot, which is pretty much the MO for an MCU film now. It does focus less on telling the plot and more on trying to progress and evolve its characters, which is something that I actually like in writing. I'm much more fond of character-driven stories than I am of plot-driven stories. Overall, I'd say that along with The Avengers, this is probably the most rewatchable film in the entire MCU library. It's a film that I've watched plenty of times. I know most of my friends have watched this plenty of times, and it is actually my girlfriend's favourite film, one of the few films that she can repeatedly watch over and over. I think that speaks a lot about the quality of this film. That's it for this episode. If you haven't subscribed, then you should hit the subscribe button, because I'll do more reviews, and you'll also get to see some of the excellent video essays that I produce throughout my time on this lofty platform. Thanks very much for your time today, and I'll see you on the next episode.